We've had our Grid-Down Redoubt system for 3 months now. It's a good time to evaluate where we are and was it worth it? Hey, Provident Preppers, I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Kylene. And today we want to talk a little bit about how the Grid-Down Redoubt is performing and whether or not it was worth it. So I think the first thing that we need to talk about is why we chose to do Grid-Down Redoubt with all of the other systems out there.
Probably one of the biggest ones is just the EMP protection. This system comes with EMP protection built in. Most other systems, this can be added to, but it doesn't. And you know, a lot of people don't understand how to add it and you know where you need these protective devices. So I think that's a big one. The Lion Energy system has a good reputation. I've been really pleased with how flexible this system is to meet our needs. It's become our servant and not us being a servant to some other power system.
This system, when you were exploring it, it like met everything you ever dreamed of. So now that you've had it for 3 months, well, a little bit more than 3 months, and you are monitoring its performance, which is like a video game to him.
Oh, it is.
I have to limit his amount of watching time.
Screen time. Now you gotta shut it down.
So now that you've had that time, has it met your expectations?
Yeah, it has. And I went in with my eyes wide open. As you know, I wanted a system that was as flexible as this is, which means that we are still on the grid if we need it. So they've become our servant. It's just kind of the best of all the worlds. And of course, the protector instinct in me is super strong, and the ability to take care of my family and our needs and to help others, you know, to help our community and our neighbors. This is the system that I'd been waiting for a long time.
And it's interesting because during this time, we've had several different things that have been really cool for us. For one, there was a huge power outage, right? That went a couple cities away.
Yeah, it was pretty widespread.
We had our neighbors calling and saying, hey, our power's out, is your power out? And even our kids that live in a neighboring city were like, is your power out? And we had no clue it happened. Yeah. We were just living life as normal. It was so cool. But one of the things about that is we were able to say, hey, if you need something, you can come over here because we have power. And that was a huge blessing. I really liked that.
It really was.
Another thing is that we have 3 freeze dryers. And at first, John was a little bit like, I don't know, you're gonna suck all my battery powder if you run all 3 of those at night.
Oh no, it's never a problem. We had a family party. We had ovens going, 2 ovens, microwaves, the air conditioner going. This is, you know, when it was still pretty warm outside. And then the 3 freeze dryers going all at once. But it just does its thing. It just goes down, and I've got ours set at 50%. They say you can go down to 30%, but see, this is like my gas tank in my car. I always want that little bit of reserve, so when it hits 50%, the grid power just kicks in, and yeah, you know, we're paying for that a little bit, but then we're also picking it up on the other end with credits that we get when we're generating more than we need. So again, this is just, it's really worked out well.
And the thing that I like about it is I never know if the grid power is kicked back in or not. It just functions all the time. And so I like that. Another thing that I really liked was that the system looks really clean. I don't know if you can tell, there is a very low hum, but it's not offensive. It doesn't bother us at all. It's just in our garage. And once it was installed, it hasn't really impacted our life other than upping his screen time. It has upped his screen time. One of the other things that he's a little bit obsessed with is the pole mount outside.
I don't care if a lot of my panels are on the roof, that's fine. But I always wanted at least some on a pole mount for 2 reasons. First of all, seasonal changes. The pole mount modules are always aimed at the sun. So in the winter, we're going to get more energy in those panels than we normally would. Mama doesn't think this will ever happen, but sometimes we get super heavy snowstorms, and the panels on the roof will be covered, and they may stay covered for several days. But the pole mount ones are low enough that I can easily clean off, both get the dirt off, and if there's a heavy snow, and then the fact that they're at a steep angle, you know, that snow isn't going to stick as well. So I like that. Again, it's the engineer and the protector in me that says I want the ability to control that little piece of it.
I can't tell you how I know that this is all working, because what I know is that it doesn't impact my life at all. Like, I totally have power all the time, no matter what. But Jonathan knows how to prove it. So talk to us about all this screen time and monitoring that you're doing.
And the truth is, there's not that much screen time. I check it 3 or 4 times a day, and you know, it does excite me. No, usually not that long, but I just picked this up online. It's their app online so that I can monitor my system and see exactly how it's performing. And then if for some reason the internet is gone, it's available on an app, a phone app with Bluetooth. So they've built that in so that either way, no matter what's happening, I've got the ability to see my system and what's going on.
And somehow this is oddly satisfying for him in so many ways. Like just the fact that he's producing his own energy. That's
exciting to me, is to know that I'm controlling, you know, it goes back to what I said earlier. I want to know that the power company is my servant, that I've got my own system in place, that I'm generating my own energy, and if I need them, they're there for me. And if I want to sell stuff to them, it is. And that's a little bit of a sore spot with Mama. She's not real comfortable, but you know, that's something you have to look at if you're looking at a system like this. Is okay, first of all, does your utility allow you to grid tie and sell energy back? And what's the rate? And ours is about 50%, which, you know, isn't
in
optimal.
Credits.
In credits, yes.
Which are wiped out once a year.
Yes, and that is true. And you need to understand all those details. So our April billing cycle is when they will wipe them out. So we can just be cognizant of that. And if we've got a little extra, we'll just turn the heater up or whatever.
Did you say turn the heater up? You heard it.
I should mention that we're going into winter right now.
Couldn't tell by the way you're dressed. But you notice I'm the one in the sweater.
That is true. In winter, more than likely, we're going to be producing less. The sun's at a lower angle. We're going to have more storms. We're going to have cloudy, hazy days. So we're not going to get as much sun. That will definitely factor into this. Our energy production will definitely drop during the winter. And we won't be using air conditioning, but we will be using heating. So
I'll still be using 3 freeze dryers.
But probably not as much because, you know, the garden isn't on.
For me, there's a couple other things that are super comforting. One is, as we hear all the craziness in this world with some of the nuclear armaments and all that, we're EMP protected, right? We know that we can still have power even after an EMP. Another thing is that it has a really good warranty, so we don't have to worry about if it breaks, we have to fix it. The warranty is really good. 25 years, right?
Yeah. 25 years on the panel and on the system. So on the EMP shields, there's a 10-year warranty. So, you know, 10 years into this, we may want to change out all of those. But
so if you are interested in this system, go to griddown.com and make sure you use the promo code Provident because they will give you 7% off. But I do have one other question that you should probably tell our audience. Which system did we get? And why did you choose that?
That's a good question. We got the 54 kilowatt hour system, but they come in increments of 13.5 kilowatt hours. So you can do a smaller system. And the beauty of it is you can get a smaller system and it will still do the same thing. If you're like us, you know, with a 13.5 kilowatt hour system, we'd be still spending a lot on energy. We've had 2 energy bills so far, and we've had to pay the minimum fee, which they charge everybody no matter what, which is $10 plus some tax. But, you know, if you've got a smaller system, you're going to pay more, but you're still going to get the ability to get those credits if you're generating more than you're producing. You could size a system to whatever you need, and there are systems that go much larger than ours.
So if I got a smaller system because that's what I could afford, then I could perhaps choose and like be able to run my CPAP or whatever things were my critical loads.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. You could run what your critical loads are and you'd be able to monitor how your system's doing. And if we end up without grid power, then we've got to be very careful, right? We're looking at, you know, what are the most critical things that we need to do, and we would manage our system that way.
Overall, I'm pretty excited about it. I know that he's more excited about it. I'm just thrilled that I have the power that I need when I need it, and I don't have to do anything about this. It takes care of itself.
And now for the question of the day. What questions do you still have about the Grid-Down Redoubt system? Comment below. And thanks for being part of the solution.